Hey, welcome back to the vlog. This is part two of a two-part series of us going to San Diego to film another promo for our client that we filmed for here in Bakersfield. And they liked what we did for them so much that they were like, hey, can you film another promo for our branch out in San Diego? So we were like, absolutely, no problem. We'll get that done for you. So yeah, this is, and you're seeing the vertical content simply because we were so busy on this second day at the construction sites. I didn't even pull out my phone except for that one vertical shot I got at the top of the high rise. So they were building some student housing complexes out there at the university, and here we are at Petco Park, and this was really cool. So we were like, hey, you guys just kind of huddle up right there and talk to each other, and we're gonna get some cool shots. So again, kind of like I spoke about in the last one, we're working with the employees and we're kind of setting them up to do something. They're not actors, but hey, we could just like, hey, do what you do. Have a meeting right here, and we're going to be filming you. Just act like we're not there. Now with these set of videos or this promo, we wanted to focus in on residential and commercial plumbing versus just construction, or construction being the highlight, because that was kind of the goal last time. This time it's like, well, let's focus more on, plumbing and service and residential. So we were like, we got to get some houses. We got to get people working inside homes. So this is one of the locations that we were able to get. Beautiful high rise right by the ocean. It was just gorgeous views everywhere. 25th floor. So these are one of those days and one of those trips where you're like, I'm getting paid to do what I love to do, and get to exercise my passion in filmmaking and commercial filmmaking, corporate filmmaking. But at the very same time, we get to travel to these places and just kind of enjoy the scenery a little bit. And we actually had lunch right by the ocean, or right by the water. So these are some of the shots that we actually got. So here's some of the finished shots that we put in there. Little sequence of going into the homes and working with customers and clients. I think came out pretty well. But as you could see when we're shooting out the window, I wish we could have exposed for the outside, but we only had the 720D, and we literally had two extra 600Ds in the van, but it's San Diego. Parking restrictions. We were actually like a block and a half away, and then 25 stories up. So there was no way that we were going to go and get it. So we had to make do. The other thing is that it was like, okay, we're in San Diego, so we're not in Bakersfield. There's not a lot of people that we know. So we were limited on, we need another location to show some home service. Then it kind of came to us like, hey, wait a minute. We're in an Airbnb. Why don't we use our place? And as it goes, if you've done any Airbnb, it's hard to Airbnb. If you stayed in an Airbnb, then you're familiar with places like this where, we're in a neighborhood that's older. It's not ghetto, it's not hood, but it's old. It's an older neighborhood. But then you walk through the door and everything is modernized. Everything's been remodeled. So we were like, this is perfect. This is a perfect homey little home, nice, warm, cozy little home that we can shoot this in. So when we got a nice little sequence of home service here, and it all worked out. But now, since this is our Airbnb, we were like, well, who's going to be the homeowner? Who's going to answer the door? We didn't have any talent for that. So guess what? Josh got to be the talent for that. So Josh is the homeowner in this situation that we got to shoot over the shoulder for. So funny, but hey, it worked. When you got to improvise and do it well. For this particular shot, as you saw, we were shooting the light right through the window, and you saw the change up. We were shooting in one direction, and we were like, let's see what it looks like from the other side. And we shot it from the other side, and that's the shot we looked at, and we were like, this is it. This is what we want to go for. So this is what we ended up doing. And then we got some shots in the bathroom. Again, shooting through the window, and we thought some diffusion over it would be the better decision. So that's what we ended up doing. And so here are the shots. I think they came out pretty well. Love this shot through the door. And there's that soft light for the shower. I think it came out pretty good. So we are in the car right now. Augie's going to show us what we got here on the transmission system. That's the camera mounted to the back there to get these rolling shots. That's going to control zoom. We can see our feed right here. Obviously, we got the info display on so we can see when we're recording. We can control it from the DJI handle there. And then we can see if this thing falls off at all on one of our cameras in the van. There it is right there. It's really... We realized that this CarPlay that we bought, the camera's not so good as compared to the camera on the backup cam. That's a fantastic camera. Anyway, it's a... Was it a Wolf? Wolf box, I think. But yeah, it's really good. Anyway, that's our setup inside here, and we'll show you what it looks like outside. All right, this is our rig. Camera, gimbal, suction mounts, transmission system. You have a feed, Josh?
We do.
And we have the feed. Great. And safety cables. And that's the talent. Now, just to keep it real, you know me, I keep saying this, budget filmmaker. And what I mean by that is just like there is a solution that can be that's higher end, right? Especially for us here at this level that we're at. We could have got the tilt-a-hydro arm and we could have mounted that to the back. But given that we don't do very much of this, right? This is the same client we did it for the last time. So outside of this client, we're not going to be doing that many rolling shots. As a matter of fact, for my tenure here working at Storyking Studios and working with Josh, we've never done any rolling shots. So I was the first one to do the rolling shots. And my suggestion was, let me stick my arm out the window with the gimbal. and then we did this. So sticking our arm out the window was not going to be an option here because it's the big old van. You know, we didn't have the option to just run home since we're not in Bakersfield. So we couldn't switch up vehicles. So we're in the van. And we're running through the streets of San Diego. So we decided we're not going to do that. We're going to try to mount the camera to the car. So again, we could have went with the tilt-a-hydro arm. But like I said, since this is the only client that we're doing it for right now, it doesn't make sense to go that deep. So what we decided to do is what you just saw there. We hard mounted, with the suction cups and the articulating arms. We were able to mount the gimbal to the car, and then we're able to control the gimbal from the front seat. So that was our solution. It's fun.
Yeah.
Can't believe I have this job. Oh wait, we're going to the next location,
yeah.
So we don't need this.
All right.
Now, for all this budget filmmaker talk, there is a point to some of the stuff that I always talk about on vlogs, and that is that show of filmmaking. And I always talk about it, and I wanted to talk about it in this video simply because since I started vlogging and putting content on this channel, I think it's been 4 or 5 months, maybe 6. We're in December, maybe 6. But it was right after NAB I started making videos, and then I started vlogging maybe a month after that. Just from that, in that time alone, we've grown so much in these last 4 to 6 months. And this year we kind of set out to do that, and we have done that, and we've been able to document it. If you've been following along, you came along right at the beginning, the very first vlog. We got the production cart. That was actually the first time we used the production cart. We got it in NEB. We took it out for our first shoot, and then we started adding on to it slowly but surely. I actually did a vlog on the Pilates gym that we did. That was they budgeted for just a run and gun videographer style shoot, but we ended up turning it into a commercial shoot. just for expense, not really making any profit out of it. And right before we did that, I decided to buy the ring grip for my gimbal. And before that, even we bought 4 buys and 6 buys for the diffusion. Instead of just going with soft boxes, we decided to do that. And all that goes back to what I've been saying about the show of filmmaking. And the reason why I say that is because you already know your social media is extremely important as a business, especially what we do. People want to see what you do, and so they're looking for stuff like this, some behind the scenes to show me not only stuff like this that you're seeing right now, the end product, but we also want to see the fact that you made it, that you did it. What does it look like to make stuff like this? And that's kind of what these vlogs serve a couple of purposes. They're dual purpose. One, so that we can put out content for other guys like ourselves, other professionals in the industry who, we're looking to each other to see how are you doing it. What do you do to solve this problem or that problem? But also, it shows the client what we do. It shows them that, we know what we're talking about. We know what we're doing. It's not as simple as pulling out a phone and making a video. And that's why we put on the show of filmmaking, simply because clients can see it. Now there comes a point where you have enough clientele and you've made enough relationships in the business that people can refer you, and it's not so much the show of filmmaking as it is people referring you business and them knowing like who produced that video. Oh, this client, these guys produced this video for that client. Oh, awesome. I'm going to give them a call. That does happen. As a matter of fact, we just had a meeting with a client or a potential client who, saw the work that we did for this client and said, hey, that looks good. Let's have a meeting. And that has helped. You know what I mean? So, but for other clients who kind of don't know who you are, kind of Google in, videographer in my area, and your company comes up. That's what I preach about when I'm talking about the show of filmmaking. They need to see that you're competent, that you know what you're doing, that you're a company that can be trusted, that they can feel confident in spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 with you. That you're obviously you need to have all your ducks in a row when it comes to business. You better be insured, and all that good stuff. But now we want to see also, can you do what you say you're going to do? Can you produce, what you say you're going to produce? And client perception is a real thing. I definitely have experienced that personally myself in one of our clients. And I think I've talked about it on another video. And if you haven't heard it, I remember we were filming for a client who we were doing a before and after. And I was shooting with the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. And it had a matte box on it. And so he's watching me shoot and do all this stuff. And then when he comes in, weeks or months later for an interview, I'm about to shoot him with the exact same camera, no matte box. He sees that and he goes, is that going to be a big enough camera? Is that, big enough to do the job? And I actually had to tell him, oh, it's the exact same camera. The only difference is the square thing that was on the front. And he was like, oh, okay. Obviously, the clients don't know that. As I've talked about before, the clients are good at what they're good at. But perception is a real thing. And that was one of the things that drove that point home to me. And so we've been making different strides to make sure that we're putting forth the perception of we do this on a higher level than what we've done before. And again, along with that comes the competency, and we obviously have to make sure we know what we're doing, that we can produce a good end product. But again, that's one of the things that I've always wanted to share on this channel to help. You know what I'm saying? If that's your goal. If that's not your goal and you're like, I want to stay small, I want to stay with the littlest camera and that's all I want, then no big deal. No problem. Do what makes you happy. Again, here we are, San Diego traffic. Take a look at that. But if that makes you happy and that that's good enough for you, then yeah, more power to you. I'm only saying that what we do is because simply we've seen growth from it, and at the very same time we're trying to see how can we do this on once again, here's the video that we produced, and there's an interview. We haven't shown any of the interviews, but we're looking towards longevity in this game, and we want to see, we want to work at this thing until we retire. So we want to bring in clients that can help do that. All right, talk to you on the next one.